Sometimes, life hides its greatest miracles in the most unexpected places. Imagine this: a man who has nothing, no home, no money, no family, risking everything to save a child he doesn't even know. Now, imagine discovering that the boy he saved was the heir to one of the largest fortunes in the country. This is the incredible story of Malik Johnson, a poor homeless man who became a hero in one single moment of bravery. It is a story about courage, compassion, and the way destiny can lift even the most forgotten among us. But before we begin, remember, our stories are made to inspire, to teach us lessons about kindness and perseverance. If you find value in today's story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Your support helps us keep bringing you powerful stories every week. The city moved fast. Cars honked, businessmen rushed by with coffee in hand, and families filled the park on weekends. But among the rush, there was one man most people didn't notice. His name was Malik Johnson. At 38, Malik had once been strong, confident, and full of dreams. Years ago, he owned a small auto repair shop on the east side of the city. Customers loved him for his honesty. He never overcharged, always fixed what was broken, and often let struggling families pay in small installments. But life had other plans. When his mother grew ill, Malik sold most of his tools and borrowed money to pay hospital bills. She passed away, and soon after, the shop collapsed under debt. With no family left, no savings, and no one to turn to, Malik found himself living under a bridge near Riverside Park. His clothes were worn, his shoes falling apart, but he carried himself with quiet dignity. Every morning, he washed in the public restroom sink, folded his blanket neatly, and offered a kind nod to strangers, even if they rarely nodded back. Children sometimes whispered as he passed, "That's the homeless man." Parents pulled their kids away, clutching purses tighter. But those who truly paid attention saw another side. Malik picking up trash along the riverbank, fixing a kid's broken bike with nothing but wire and pliers, or carrying heavy grocery bags for an elderly lady. He had nothing, yet gave everything he could. Still, every night, as he lay on the cold concrete, Malik wondered if the world would ever see him again, not as a homeless man, but as a person. It was a bright Saturday morning. Riverside Park was alive. Children ran across the grass, families grilled food, and couples strolled hand in hand. Malik sat on his favorite bench, a weathered wooden seat under an old oak tree. He pulled out a stub of pencil and the back of a torn cardboard box. He liked sketching cars, muscle cars, trucks, even old classics he used to repair. It reminded him of the man he used to be. Not far away, an 11-year-old boy, Ethan Williams, laughed as he chased a soccer ball. Ethan was adventurous, the kind of boy who always ran ahead of his nanny, testing limits. His ball bounced toward the river. Ethan followed without thinking, his sneakers slipping on the damp grass. He reached for the ball, but his foot slid, and before he knew it, he fell into the rushing river. "Help!" Ethan screamed, his small arms flailing as the current dragged him farther out. The park froze. Parents gasped. A woman shrieked. But no one jumped in. Some yelled, "Call 911." Others ran toward the water's edge but stopped, afraid of the strong current. Malik dropped his cardboard sketch instantly. His heart pounded. He didn't think, he just moved. With no hesitation, Malik kicked off his worn sneakers and dove into the river. The water was icy, shocking his body, but adrenaline pushed him forward. He swam hard, cutting through the waves. Ethan thrashed wildly, his face dipping below the surface. "Hold on, kid," Malik shouted, his voice breaking through the chaos. He reached Ethan just as the boy's head disappeared underwater. Grabbing the boy's arm, Malik hauled him upward, wrapping one arm around his chest. Ethan gasped, coughing and choking, clinging to Malik desperately. The current pulled at them, dragging them downstream. Malik kicked with all his strength, fighting toward the shore. His arms burned, lungs screamed, but he refused to let go. Finally, after what felt like forever, Malik's feet touched the muddy bottom. With one final push, he dragged Ethan to the riverbank. Bystanders rushed forward, pulling Ethan onto the grass. Paramedics arrived moments later, checking his breathing. Malik stood back, dripping wet, shivering, exhausted, but relieved. The boy was alive. That was all that mattered. But then he heard the whispers. "Isn't that the homeless man? What was he doing near the boy? He's always hanging around the park." Malik lowered his eyes. He didn't wait for thanks. Quietly, he slipped away, his clothes clinging to his body, leaving behind the child he had saved. As Ethan coughed up water, his eyes searched the crowd. "Where's the man who saved me?" he asked weakly. The paramedic smiled. "You're safe now, son. Don't worry." But Ethan wasn't satisfied. He remembered the strong arms that pulled him up, the calm voice telling him to hold on. He remembered the man's face, tired, worn, but kind. He wouldn't forget. Meanwhile, Malik sat under the bridge, wringing water from his shirt. For the first time in years, he felt something strange. Not just exhaustion, not just loneliness, but the feeling of having done something that mattered. For one brief moment, someone had truly seen him. That evening, news spread quickly. "Billionaire's son saved from drowning," headlines read. When Charles Williams, Ethan's father, heard the story, his heart nearly stopped. Charles wasn't just wealthy. He was one of the most powerful men in the city. Hotels, real estate, global investments, his name carried weight. But at home, he was just a widowed father with one child, his only family left. Charles rushed to Ethan's room. "Son, are you all right?" "I'm fine, Dad," Ethan said softly. "But Dad, a man saved me." Charles demanded details, but all anyone could say was that a homeless man had disappeared after the rescue. Charles clenched his fists. "Find him," he ordered his staff. "I don't care if it takes all night. That man saved my boy. He deserves everything I can give." But Malik's name was unknown. To most, he was just the homeless man by the park. Ethan refused to let the matter drop. Every night, he told his father about the rescuer. "Dad, he wasn't just homeless. He was a hero. You should have seen him." Charles, touched by his son's conviction, realized he needed to see this man with his own eyes. Meanwhile, Malik returned to his quiet routines, picking up trash, helping kids fix bikes, sharing scraps of bread with other homeless men. He never expected that destiny was already on its way back to him. A week later, Charles took Ethan back to Riverside Park. "Are you sure this is where he stays?" Charles asked. "Yes, Dad. He'll be here. I know it." And then Ethan saw him. sitting on the old oak bench, sketching again. "There!" Ethan cried, running across the grass. Malik looked up, startled, as the boy threw his arms around him. "I found you!" Charles approached slowly. His expensive suit and polished shoes seemed out of place against Malik's ragged clothes. For a moment, Charles hesitated. But then Ethan's words rang in his ears. He was a hero. Charles extended his hand. "Sir, I believe you saved my son, and for that, I owe you everything." At first, Malik tried to refuse. "I don't need anything. I just wanted the boy safe." But Charles insisted. He wanted to know Malik's story. For the first time in years, Malik spoke openly about his mother, his shop, his fall into homelessness. Charles listened, humbled. Ethan sat beside Malik, holding his hand. "Dad, we can help him, right?" And so, Charles offered Malik more than charity. He gave him a job, a chance. Malik became head mechanic for Charles's company fleet. He was given a small apartment, clothes, and dignity. Months later, Malik stood taller. He had rebuilt his life, not through wealth, but through kindness that had come back full circle. And Ethan? He had gained more than a rescuer. He had found a lifelong friend. And so, one act of courage forever changed two lives. The homeless man who had nothing gained everything, not by asking, but by giving. And the billionaire's son learned that true wealth is not counted in dollars, but in gratitude and kindness. What lesson did you take from Malik's story? Comment below. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell for more inspiring stories every week.